Me and the new guy. Talking science. So, where to begin with the big roar? Not the Big Bang, but the big roar. So, theoretically, what might have happened was nothingness, but something gave it a push or knocked it into something else, or fused, and two became four, eight, blah, blah, blah. This, let's say, initial push, macro and micro in its minute subtlety, set the universe into a motion, which created a reverberation, cyclical, right? So anything that is cyclical in nature, and that is also reverberation. So basically, gravity plus time eventually creates building block molecules. The firmament on Earth, and then the single cell organisms to fish out of the water with legs and little bears and lions and tigers, oh my. But the firmament of Earth, it has to be for a planet to either come together by a guided hand or the natural order of the universe and the cosmos, well, it has to be perfect. So it has to be, in a sense, the exact conditions, not a micro speck off, and the moon being exactly in position, creating the possibility of life on Earth, or if you want to terraform a planet, sure, but it's the same process. You'd have to hack your own planet, hack the planet, and you'd also have to get the math just right so that the life can be sustained. You can terraform or terraform a planet like Mars, make it, you mutate the atmosphere, and you basically make life possible there, but the gravity would be different. Effect of the sun, the winds would still be different because it's not the same neighborhood, man. It's like in Australia and Canada, it's not the same vibe right now. Same winds. It's just solar winds. It's the same solar winds, but it's a planet away, man, or whatever. So, if the moon tidal locking is what created a mutation in the human placenta that made life possible. So once, let's say Neanderthal man, the moon was in a lock with the Earth in that perfect. Well, the placenta mutated, then there was the first Homo sapien, or whatever it was. But the spark of consciousness. Let's go to Jesus right now. Jesus was a new man, so people theorize once again. Theoretically, he had different blood. So they waited this type of man, a loving man, and supposedly now it's going to be a mystical man. But what is that? But one who can be at one with the cosmos, or breathe the cosmos itself. There's one energy, one life, one consciousness, and in essence, anything that is cyclical, circular, cycles, larger, because of the other key factor, which would be time and gravity, really. So it's like reverb and reverb in a circle. It'll eventually create that vibrational shift in pitch. So you don't, for example, this is in the body. It's the same mechanism that runs the body, runs the universe. It's the same life. Life operates a specific way. For a frog, for a tree, for a bird, for a cloud, it's still all life. The elements of life. So it's fire, water, wind, earth, but Akash, which is empty space, space but empty. Well, that's all the universe. Even a cell is mostly empty, right? So, empty space. So space. It's not the fifth element. It's the element it's like that lifts them all up. It's like it's the opposing thumb. Not really. It's the palm. It's like I don't know how to say it, but space is not the fifth. It's the element from which all the other elements are spawned from and go back to. So your body is that. You're made of 70-80% water, whatever, and then you got the rest or the percentage of the other elements. You got earth, wind, and fire, and Akash. The space is also the empty space is what makes that possibility for life to happen. So right now, I'm flickering. Everything in on this world and the universe is flickering at trillions of millibytes per second. It's in a blink of an eye. The universe is like reappearing and disappearing at 3 billion times or whatever Buddha said. And yes, it's true that Buddha said it, and he had to invent words from the words he knew to describe this to his friend who was asking him the question. But scientists now confirm that that's the truth. It's a fractal kind of a flickering universe. So if we have these elements within us that are basically what everything is made of, I mean, this earth, the dirt itself, I'm made of that. It's the soil. It's like when you pray, give reverence to your food, right? And it'll behave properly. If you want to pray for a certain something and have reverence or intend, you aim your intent or your prayer for a specific something. You bless your food in a specific direction. It'll have that kind of effect on the food, and that it will respond with you better, depending on what you eat. It'll still do the same. But the thing is when you have all these elements within you, it's all the same stuff. So the prayer is bless, thank you all minerals, vegetables, animal, people, gods, and gods. And what is a mineral made of but animal, people, vegetable, gods, and gods? What's the rest made of? It's the same stuff. An animal is made of minerals, vegetable, animal, people, gods, and gods. What's a human made of? Mineral, so and so forth. So if you have these elements within you, and it's all made of the same stuff, you know yourself, then you know the universe. You know the mechanics of life through paying attention to yourself. So cataloging the known universe, which is the study of science, it's like counting till infinity with a brief mortal life. Yes, humans will be doing science, and it's in the hard science that the answers need to come, in a sense. But you don't underestimate the fact that science gets to dictate the vocabulary. They get to say what the lingo goes. So if you have a spiritual term for it that has not yet been experienced, it's labeled as non-existent or belief. But spiritual science is science. Many of the spiritual truths of yogis who lived thousands and thousands of years ago, and thousands. Well, these yogic truths, they're now being confirmed bit by bit. But cataloging the known universe, as far as we traverse into infinity, there are some truths that will evade us. They will evade us, these truths. So you can't say, well, one day we'll know everything, because if a human being understands the purpose of the universe and being at one with it, we will no longer be human. And the thing is once you dissolve into the absolute, and it's okay to do that, you're both the prince of darkness and light, you're both the princess of darkness and light. But once you dissolve into the absolute, you can't come back. So that's why when you're speaking to somebody, it's like a non-linear kind of non-logic fashion, so it becomes very confusing sometimes. You're like what's Nico talking about? I didn't get what he says. Like, is it going to be raining today, or is it going to be like, is it going to be super sunny, or what? It's like, yes, and this kind of thing. It's paradoxical oneness. But more to the point, all this stuff is in the universe is made of the same stuff. Life operates a specific way for you, for me, for anything. So to know the universe, know thyself. Like know thyself was the original expression, but to know the mechanics of the universe, look within yourself, and you'll have the key, the first step, or the door. That was Nikola Tesla or something like that. But if you have within you Okay, first off, nobody can stop you from going within, no matter what. If you choose to go within, as a scientist, however, you're cataloging the known universe. You're counting with this brief mortal life. You go, yes, it's real. This is real. Oh yeah, mathematical equation. Oh yeah, there's the data. Therefore, it is real. For your whole life, there are certain truths that those pertain to, that you can experience. There are certain truths, though, that you cannot put into a logical, linear fashion. You can't put it in a straight A to B to C linear fashion in a logical sense and explain it verbally. You can only, because then the words are so limited, or understanding as well, or mostly and one and the same, that if I tell you something about that I experienced in meditation, you're like, oh, you were tripping, right? Or like, oh, so it was hallucination. Oh. And then you experience these states yourself, and then you get it. You're like, yeah, I get it. It was like a light, and yeah, it's like a light. Many people sense lights, but if we get more to a non-fancy sci-fi looking thing, well, you have the let's say, I'll tell you, once I experienced, it doesn't seem much, but 8 seconds of pure consciousness, pure. And for myself, I then knew life eternal, that there is no death. It's consciousness, but because I have the spiritual training, I know the vocabulary, I know what these words pertain to, and how they're the same in the suchness of the word and the suchness of the reality, why there's a little gap, but once you understand the spiritual lingo, there's like letters in the lingo where it's like, this is between the gap, which is actually the word for between a gap or a gap is rigpa, R-I-G-P-A. Rigpa is like the between void. But in Taoism, the same thing, Dao is called the void, right? So, in essence, if somebody says, well, what was that before? I don't know. I've never experienced it before, but however, then in my own numbers, I've come across this in my music, and often, and my own numbers is somehow, I don't know, maybe it's fluke, but many people have too as well. But people theorize that this may be the 84th creation, or the 84th big roar. So not a big bang, but this universe may be the 84th so far, and there could only be 112 creations, which would be after that, they would be energetic in nature, and it's no wonder that there's 112 chakras in your body, and 113 and 114 are out of your body. So even though right now I'm speaking to you on this wonderful device, whoever's on the receiving end, let's say I was speaking to someone specifically, well, you and I would be sharing the same chakra bridge of 13 and 14. And the thing is, on that note, is like, if you were to, you need to, if I were to create, like I was saying earlier, I'll go back to that finally, thank you for your patience, thanks for waiting. So if I create a mantra within myself, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, okay, now if I do it properly, the reverberation is going from my navel up the spine, at the top of my head, and then resonating in the nasal, coming back down for another cycle at the belly button, and basically at the base of the spine up to the top of the head, and back through another cycle to refresh the vital organs. It's not just a practice that is good for me or that cleanses, but no matter what, if I do that properly and it's resonating here and I'm present of mind, you can't do it without presence of mind. You have to be conscious and aware. Okay, but if I do this properly, no matter what I try, if I'm doing it properly and do it right, it'll work right. No matter what. It's a human technology. It's not a belief. It's a spiritual science. And if you do it, this reverb, cyclical motion or sound or reverberation of sound within your system, it'll definitely create a resonance which will raise your pitch no matter what. So after mantras, no matter what, if you do it right, you're up there. So you can even say that you can attain states that are like, lack of better words, it's like half angel, half demon, literally, but not like with wings or horns, but in the sense of the original term of what the word pointed to. Once again, it's pointed to. So if I, let's say, go for this 3D realm that everybody's stuck in the lower 3 chakras, which is like sex, money, drugs, that's the warning of Roy and the red, orange, yellow stripes. But it's fine. You need to keep them strong and in order. You need A, B, C, so that you can get to D, E, F, G. So in essence, even though you have to build them in order, and be careful of having chakras out of line, because if you have something damaged or initially not strong in your lower chakras, you won't be able to go up because you'll kind of crumble, because it's always about balance. Balance, 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 always balance. Okay? So after this reverberation creates with you with the sound waves, this whole universe within you, it basically raises its pitch. So if I go from this 3D modality and low vibration, low vibes, exactly right. Low vibrational frequencies where you're like, oh, TV and smoking weed and fucking, you always have these low realms. Well, in essence, no matter what, if I do these mantras correctly, they will work right. And what happens is you are aligning your 7 main chakra out of heaven, 112 chakras or 13 and 14. But as you're doing this will definitely create a tension, let's say, in your throat chakra, or maybe you'll get blocked in that chakra, or basically at the limit gate, yellow here, red, orange, yellow. You won't be able to get there to the heart and to your truth, to the truth, and speaking and hearing it and listening. But you won't get there neither. And even if you did somehow activate this with a human technology, it will work. If you activate this, it will work. But if you don't have balance A, B, C, the first base of the chakra, strong and whole and aligned, healthy, spinning at the right speed, let's say, well then if, because chakra means wheel that spins, but they're more like a triangle the way they look energetically. But that's the thing, is there's no wonder that we have 112 to 114 chakras, and that's how many universes are theorized to will be. After that, all creations will be energetic, like universe into universe, mutating at once. But once again, they say that, so they say, my understanding as well is evolution cannot be exponential. It has to reach a certain nexus and then become one and what it is, like a building block. But the thing is if evolution was exponential and ever growing, it would devour itself on its own monstrous weight and collapse, because it's just too heavy to hold like that. Not in a weight sense, but who knows, So yeah, what? Who knows what? Who knows what? I don't know who knows what. But so, anyways, my bad. So what I'm saying is, like, if you got red, orange, yellow, blah, 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 they're all strong and aligned. It has to be in order, yeah. No matter what, if I do these mantras, it'll create a reverb and end up. I'll pitch. Let's say I go from low vibes to 3D, from 3D to 5, and I'm like in or let's say a higher dimensional existence or experience and perception or whatever. So if that's happening, it's like you can see from a higher vantage point this 3D reality and see things that are there, but that people don't notice, because the thing that happens is, in society, with the rhythm of all of it, if you were in nature, it would be quite different. That's why I say retreat to nature if you can. But spirituality, the challenge, or the task, or not task, but the challenge, is to live in a world spiritually, in a world and time where it's almost impossible to do so. That doesn't mean it's impossible. It's almost impossible. That's exactly it, right? It's like, well, how's that practical? Well, I don't meditate because somebody told me I had to. It's the most natural. Like, why does a frog go in the sun? Because he's recharging. Recharge, because it's natural as hell. In heaven, on earth, heaven is earth. So I meditate because it's tremendously empowering. It gives me a sense of wonder, of awakeness, alertness, heightened everything. It just gives me vitality, and it's just good for everything. So it's like, well, why do you drink juice? Because it makes me feel good. Why do you drink beer? Because it makes me feel good. Why do you smoke weed? Because it makes me feel good. The thing is, those things are toxins in essence. Or herbs, let's say herbs have the power to heal and affect depending on how and when they are used, but anything cross the line is going to be a hazard to your system. Your system is built in a way that first off, it's meant to experience bliss, and your system is built in a way that a human mechanism works as a human life, and life is life. So if you were to do something initially wrong, like smoke cigarettes without any type of medicinal or dietary or habit, whatever your consumption, your daily routine, whatever, you're not an Amazonian tribesman who's isolated, and this is their culture, who live to 70, 80 and smoke all day. This is a human being is not meant to inhale smoke. So if you're smoking smoke, that's initially wrong. You're going to get lung cancer or whatever it may be, any ailment. The body knows. And so let's say essentially, if the human intellect is the most advanced, evolutionary piece of engineering on Earth. We created AI we created AI, this brain. Okay, so our intellect being the most advanced thing that evolution ever popped up. Well, that's the thing is, you have a an entire world of problems because you're so smart. You're so smart that, oh, my head's heavy. Well, yeah, exactly, head's heavy. You're so smart, man. But if you just lighten up, as in pay attention to life, you would notice the life that you are. But people pay attention to the rhythm of society, and I'll skip that for the next time. But in essence, the word obey means pay attention, listen, be attentive, hear, be aware, but not to anything but nature itself. You pay attention. It doesn't mean do what nature says, but in essence it does, which means it says whatever society is doing, if it's the same as nature, it's the truth and it works, do that. But if ever nature is saying this is what is and how nature does things, and society does something that opposes that act or functionality to be, well, that means you have to disobey society. It means don't listen to society, but listen very carefully to nature. So it's one thing to be civil, but you have to realize you're a civil being and you're also an animal being. You're a civil creature, but you're also an animal creature. Creature, creation. So if in essence anything good or bad is besides the point. You have to see it as it is. What is the thing? It's neither good or bad. It's sad as it is. For me, it may be daytime right now, but for an owl, it may be nighttime, and that's subjective, relative. But nah, it's like it's always about balance, right? So the crossing the line is it's not seeing as good or bad or being positive. You see the thing exactly as it is, then you always return to A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A to learn the thing, and then eventually you become sensitive with the system of life, intimate with it, and then you live that truth of life, and then you are then fit to guide others and be either a physician or a teacher who is required for the cultural rooting, which is what is needed. You need cultural rooting. You need to plant the people who are in harmony with life, living in the world and with the world. These people need to be planted in the front lines, and then the generations can seep through them, and then they teach things that are, to a human being that is good for a human being. But once again, a human being is half civil, half animal. So you have to stay wilderness itself, stay wild, like be wilderness itself. But you have to realize you're in society. You can't just go around acting like an animal or a savage or beast mode all the time. You are an animal, but be a party civilian. So that balance thing. If you partied all the time, you wouldn't feel that great. I mean, partying sometimes that's what creates long-lasting well-being. And that's doing something fundamentally right. That's when let's say drinking or smoking can be a natural part of life. But if somehow it's just reinforcing the bad taste of your disbalance or unbalance, that means there's something in your heart. So there's an affliction, and broken hearts need mending, let's say. But if you have an affliction with you, such as whatever it may be, as a personal demon, well, that's the thing is it's not natural anymore. So even though, cigarettes, tobacco, it grows out of the earth, and alcohol is distilled. It's a process we've discovered. So yes, they can be natural, but anything, like I said earlier, herbs have the power to heal and infect depending on how and when they are used. And essentially, medicine, a pill, let's say, is essentially herbs, essentially. But just putting something in pill form doesn't make it medicinal. However, it's part of the process. But if a human being is doing something initially wrong, it'll create an infection. That's why a human being may be designed for bliss, but if you're throwing all of your mental, which is the highest form of evolutionary engineering, right? If you're throwing your mental all the way down the left, you're going to go depressed. If you're throwing it all the way to the right, or whatever it may be, then yeah, that creates bliss. So it's basically this. If you're creating an immense amount of mental and emotional energy, or if you have an immense amount of mental and emotional energy in the wrong way, it's depression. But without those things, depression is impossible. If you throw your mental and emotional energies the right way, that's what creates bliss. But you have to know what the steps are and what to do, and it takes more unlearning than learning. The thing is when you're born, you already know everything in a sense, but you have no data in you. And then they infuse into you data. Remember this knowledge so that you can get a job. That's all it does. School teaches you how to get a job and serve the economy, which isn't bad. It's part of it. But you have to understand that if a mind has been learning its whole life, it's a little bit atrophied. And if you do a PhD, 27 years, let's say, 28, 29 years, something like that, your intellect will likely be damaged 70% irrevocably. I mean, you fry this eraser thing and it's all dry, it's crooked. So what's the key? Well, from the get-go, you let things be as they are for a child, a joy and an ease. You don't go like, oh, you're laughing, shush, and you're like, or oh, you need candy because you're sick. It's the other way around, right? That's what I'm saying. But you have to teach the body it pays to be well, and how to do that. So you teach them what they want to know or what they're interested in as children, which is what? Singing, dancing, playing, right? Singing, martial arts, meditation, music, sadhana, spirituality, spiritual science. These things are good for human beings. If you teach a kid meditation, gardening, these things are good for human beings. It serves the life quality within the life that you are. It doesn't mean things about your life, like your car, your house, whatever. So if you nurture life, show the life how to, not what to think, but how to think in essence, right? That's exactly it. That's why it requires cultural rooting from teachers, physicians, people like that on the front line. That when you come to them, they're fit to guide a life because they are in tune with the system of life. They know intimately. So in essence, as for the medicine, medicinally, I'll have to say it's like people know, medicine is an art and a science. So you have to be intuitive about your scientific approach, but your spiritual realities, they have to be approached scientifically with hard science because, once again, as I said earlier, the lingo is dictated by science. So just because the words are different, it's the same reality. Cut short, like Einstein said, all sciences, arts, and blah, 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 are all branches of the same tree. But no, it's the roots. Okay, like back then, before there was a word for science, there was no word for spirituality because they were the same. They worship truth, so they practice truth. So once they split, then there was a tree with different branches. There was just a seed or whatever it may be, little seeds, but that's what it is. So in essence, it's not that there's, like Einstein, correction on Einstein, man. Yeah, he's right. In essence, he's trying to be politically correct to y'all. Whatever whatever he sees, but they're not branches of the same tree, science and arts and medicine and spirituality. No, they're the one thing. So in ancient times, like they call ancient technologies, well, if you had something messed up with your bones in your knees, they'd get theoretically a pitchfork, go ding 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 ding, and once it resonates with it, yeah, I feel it. This is the one. This is the note. Then they would take sine note healing, which is a sound wave. A wave goes like this, right? A sound wave does the same thing. My words are hitting you with sound waves like this. So a sine note, they find it, and they'd find the sine note for that. They go or whatever it may be, and somehow angulars would fix your freaking knee. How, man? How'd you just turn into motherfucking Batman? You just talking about cool stuff. You're talking like Iron Man. You're the real Iron Man. I'm the real Iron Man. Yeah.